Statewide, the rash of wildfires have burned more than 1 million acres, about twice the yearly average over the past 10 years. One of Oregon's largest wildfire has grown over to 130 acres and is now burning half a mile outside of Estacada, officials said Friday morning. The Riverside blaze, like many other large fires burning throughout the state, is uncontained. It has not yet merged with the Beachy Creek fire, which is burning in neighboring Marion County. Included in all this destruction is Idanha-Detroit Rural Fire Protection District's fire engine. So the question at heart is, how did this engine get lost in the blaze? And the answer is a very simple one: to save lives.
Sure. So as you know, we've had pretty dangerous fires burning in the Detroit and Idanha areas and all the way down the canyon in that area. We had the Beachy Creek fire, which was coming at us from the west, and it actually smoldered at about 25 acres for weeks before we had the large wind event, which kicked it up and it eventually took out most of the town. And the Lion's Head fire was coming at us from the east, and it originally started on the Warm Springs Reservation. Those two fires did merge and became the Santa Ana fire, which took out, I think, 5 towns total that had a lot of damage. Detroit, I think, had the worst as far as structure loss, but I'm not sure about that. Everybody's just been had a really hard time with this fire.
Sure.
So the fire truck that burnt up, our agency was stationed in Detroit, kind of watching, keeping a close eye on the fire, doing active patrols, looking for hot spots and spot fires. And we had 3 engines down there at that time, about 30 civilians that weren't able, they either didn't know the evacuation or were delayed, or just decided to wait till the last minute. We're not sure everybody's story, but
sure. Yeah.
We had about 30 of them with us down there in Detroit, and our fire chief decided that we needed to move to a safe place. And we had chosen Mongold State Park because doing some pre-fire planning months ago, we decided that was a good defensible position in case anything happened, like a natural disaster, especially wildfire. It had a really good open spot, good, what am I saying? Parking lot, nice wide open parking lot
large
with
spot,
some boat docks and yeah. So we decided to move there. We took all the civilians with us. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough drivers to drive our fire engines. So we took what we could, and we decided to leave our 1986 Seagrave behind.
Right here. Yep. Okay. One right here, please.
Okay, so we didn't have enough drivers to get all of our engines out of there and get all the civilians out. So we decided to save our 1992 Ford Pierce engine and our 1990 Ford Grumman engine. The Seagrave had just come back from the shop, and so it was totally stripped. We didn't have any tools or supplies on that engine, and we already had the other 2 fully loaded, so we decided to take those out of there. So, let's see, we decided to go to Mongold State Park because of months of fire planning and disaster planning. We had decided that was a nice open area, like I said, and it would be a good defensible position. So we moved all the civilians down there, and we just kind of hunkered down and waited. We had all the civilians staging in their vehicles so that they were protected from the wind and the smoke. We had a couple that were on foot and didn't have any transportation, so we put them in our fire engines to protect them. And our fire chief made the decision to call in the National Guard to hopefully get us airlifted out of there, because Highway 22 was closed down to the east and to the west of us by large rocks in the road and burning trees that were blocking the road, and it wasn't going to be a viable option to pass through. The fire had jumped the highway on both ends of town, so we weren't able to get through.
Sure.
And by the end of the time there, we had about 70 or so civilians with us that were just trickling out of the woods from campgrounds, some stragglers that were coming in that maybe didn't get the message or were late. So we had everybody hide in our cars, and we could actually hear the National Guard hovering above us. But they weren't able to land because of all the smoke and the wind. It was we had about 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
Sure, yes.
And the smoke was so thick we could barely see 500 feet, maybe less. And so they had to pull out of there because of their own safety. They were afraid they were going to crash their helicopters. So we started working on a plan B. We knew escape wasn't really going to be a viable option, even though we were sending out scouts to try to find a way out there, and all the ways looked like they were blocked. So we decided to move our 2 engines that we had with us and use them to block the flames. We could see fire pretty much all the way around us. So we put our engines in position to block the worst of the flames, and we started getting the civilians out of their cars, and we're going to move them down to the docks as kind of like a last defensible position. And we started cutting down brush and trees and stuff from the escape parts to reduce all the fuels and hopefully be able to protect them. And we had several small children with us too. I think the youngest one was, I think, 7 months old. And we had like a bunch of other children that were under 6. One father had 4 children under 6 with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But mostly, I think our main focus was just keeping the civilians calm, to let them know we're here for them, we're going to protect them, and that we're going to get out, even though we didn't really know if we were going to make it out.
Understood, yes.
Yeah. A lot of our firefighters actually started calling their families. I know one firefighter called his mom to say, hey, please take care of my son. I don't know if I'm going to make it out of here.
Wow.
Said, hey, we think we found you an escape route, but we need to leave now or it's going to be blocked again. So we all got in a long convoy. I was driving my fire chief's pickup truck, and I had 2 civilians with me, 2 elderly gentlemen that didn't have transportation, and one of them had his dog as well. So we all loaded up, got into a long line, and we had about 35 cars in this convoy. And we just started following Forest Service out, and we actually did drive through fire for a little bit there. We could feel the heat coming into our vehicles, and we had fire all around us to escape. So we actually ended up going up National Forest Road 46 up towards Breitenbush, and I believe we took the 42 from there, and we ended up going all the way almost to government camp.
Wow. Yes, I know that route well, actually. It's my old stomping grounds. Yes, I do.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I really do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, beautiful drive in other circumstances, but when you've got smoke and fire all around you, that's not what you're focusing on.
No. Well, I didn't know actually you were one of them that were there. This is awesome.
Yes, I was.
Well, blessed that you are here with us today. Wow. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and I'm glad you saved everybody. That is just, stories of hope is just, it's what we need nowadays, right at the moment, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I do feel, the whole fire department feels just terrible that we had to abandon our town like that, but we decided to prioritize lives over structures, and I'm glad we did that, because there's no way, looking at the destruction now, I was just there a few days ago in Detroit, and just looking at the amount of destruction there was, there's no way we would have been able to fight it. It would have run us over.
Exactly. Well, bless you again, and you guys did an awesome job saving 70 people. I mean, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and you take care and rest up.
Absolutely. We will. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.